This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Chilling. Welcome back from Japan, and welcome back to the good old U.S. of A, James.
Thanks. The question mark. Thanks. Yeah. I noticed your greeting is different than like, what's going on, Mr. Japanese James? Like you did a couple weeks ago. That shit was hilarious. But yeah, man, I'm back. Fun trip.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Where do you want to go? Do you want to exchange some more pleasantries? We end up hanging out. What was it? All Saturday, basically.
Yeah. So that was cool. You had some more stories, I'm sure. To share with the people here. Well, I guess we should do some like housekeeping first. So next week. We're going to do the One Nation Radio Awards. I'm going to find a way to get these votes counted this week. I kind of want to try to do it in a way where I don't have to count them all manually. That takes normally like 3 hours. And I need to spit it to a Google sheet and use, I think it was something called pivot tables or something. So shout out to Dan. He's going to help me with that. And hopefully it'll spit out the numbers real quick. If you guys want to vote, if you haven't got your vote in, make sure you guys get your votes in. That also includes James. So, we got a pretty good turnout this year without really. I don't feel like I really promoted it too hard. But I'm definitely glad to have James back this week. Hosting the solo show was fun, but not what I naturally prefer. Did you happen to catch the solo show, James?
The parts that you posted on the best of type stuff, like the clips. I ended up doing that. The one you did basically the day I flew out, basically. I listened to that one its entirety. This one I didn't have time to. Like, coming back has been kicking my ass, bro. Like, I don't know what it is, but getting there, the issue of like the sleep, being able to sleep, at night locally. But coming back, man, like, it took me until, I still haven't gotten it right. Like, I only slept, like, maybe an hour and a half this morning.
Jeez.
Like, and I came back on Tuesday night, and I'm still, like, all messed up. But, so I unfortunately haven't done that, but I did listen to the clips. So yeah, I'm kind of filled in.
Gotcha. We'll get to the Vince stuff in a minute, but yeah, man, how was the rest of the trip? I believe you said you got to meet up with Tam Nakano, which I'm definitely excited about hearing about.
Okay, so I was gonna let this one slide because first things first. So most of my trip was in Tokyo. And then when Stardom did the weekend shows in Nagoya, the Aichi Prefecture, I just said I'm just gonna go with them. I'm just traveling. I'm just following them around like I'm a deadhead, like I'm like following around like a Grateful Dead fan. So my last 2 days I was in Nagoya, so I had to take a bullet train. Was kind of concerned about the bullet train because I mentioned last time I was on here, like a schmuck, I brought two check bags. So like on the bullet trains, like there's a new rule where it's like you can't bring more than one bag. But like I still slugged it out, still made it work. It was cool. Just put one of the bags in front of me, and one over the top, like in the storage thing. But so get there, and the things you take for granted when you're at one place and you're accustomed to it, or like when you're in a bigger city, you don't notice it until like you all of a sudden like, oh yeah, like it was nice to be able to look at the stops on the screen and inside the trains and be like, okay, it flashes in Korean, it flashes in Japanese, and it flashes in English. What the next station is? That shit don't exist in Nagoya. I was sitting there like, did I pass the wrong station? I'm sitting here listening like, okay, my station's coming up. Keep in mind, like, I know this is how much Japanese I know.
By the symbols out there.
Yeah, this is how much Japanese I know. I can't form a complete sentence in Japanese. That's how much Japanese I know, right? So,
shock.
None. I ain't got nothing for you. So, got to Nagoya. Nagoya Station, my hotel was like 2 blocks away, so it was fine. And, well, it was fine at first. Like, on the bullet train, like, my phone had died. My phone was dying off, so by the time I get to the 1-8 show in Nagoya, like, I had to turn my phone off. I was like, oh, shit, my phone's gonna die. I don't want my phone to die. I'll be fucking lost out here. And I'll never be back on 1-8 radio ever again. So, by the time I turn my phone back on, I got like...
It'll be hashtag let James go, like let the locks go in Japan.
Y'all would had to, put the APB out on your boy. Like, have they sold this big nigger into slaves, into slaving, into sex trafficking? Has he been trafficked? Where is he? Where could he possibly have gone?
Do we have to send Liam Neeson to get you back?
So, anyway, by the time I get on the train ride back, my phone is kaput. It dies on me, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm only 2 blocks away from my station. So I know the name of my station. You know what my dumb ass did though? I did the thing where that people always forget to do. Like, okay, I'm at this particular hotel, and I'm 2 blocks away, and I got out on this side, so I'm good. It's like, okay, bro. What about the part where like you're in a big city and like they made more than in this particular brand of hotel has more than one hotel? So I ended up, getting out, phone dead, and I ended up looking at like, okay, I'm at the Dawa Hotel. Let's go to Dawa. Just look up at the skyline and just follow the building, James. Man, I got to that one. I also looked at it. I was like, oh, this ain't the one that I was at. Oh. So I was like, okay, well, then let's go to the next one you see. Oh, that ain't either. I'm further away from the train station. Let's try one more. Let's try one more. Third time's a charm, right? No, it is not. So I was like, and now by this point in time, I'm just been focused on getting to the next hotel. Next one. All of a sudden, I'm like, hey, bruh, I've lost track of this train station. Oh, no. So I start doing the, okay, James, just go to a 7-Eleven or a Lawson and ask them to point you towards the train station and then just start over, right? Just start over. So I end up doing that, and my phone's dead, right? So I have no idea how long I've been out there. I just know I've been out there for a minute now because I've walked, multiple blocks, and everything. And then by the time, like, just before I actually found or headed back and, like, found my right hotel, I see the Stardom bus. The bus with all the rest of it. And I was like, wow, I must have been out here over an hour now at this point because they're south of the station. Like,
what venue. Did the bus look like? Was it like
It's a white bus, and it has, like, kind of like these colors on my shirt, like a purple and pink. And it's like, and it had, it says Stardom logos all over or whatever else. Gotcha. I see the bus, and they debuted the bus at Sumo Hall, on the 29th. So like, I see the bus, and I'm like, bro, like, I just took a 30-minute train ride, to get to the venue they were just at. Like, that means they had to be on a ride on the bus, and also like, after everybody, they had to wait for everybody to leave out the building to then break down the ring and everything. So like, this had to be an hour that I've been out here. Oh no. So, get to my hotel, and I was like, man, like, I can't believe I got fucking lost for an hour, in a country I don't speak 4 languages. Like, that could have went all bad. But luckily people were, all you say, say Nagoya Station, they'll just point you, go that way, dummy. So, I ended up going over smoothly or whatever, getting back. So, the next day was, Tam's homecoming show, in Aichi. And I had never been to Aichi before. I knew it was I called it a city. I knew it wasn't as big as Nagoya. And man, I got on, the train station, or I got on the train. And when I landed at that train station, I told you, I took pictures of Rich, and like, I saw farmland, and then I saw someone on a tractor, and I was like, oh, Tam and Okada, because they're both from Aichi, or I'm sorry, from Anjo. I was like, oh, they're both like, I don't want to say country bumpkins, but like, they ain't exactly city boys or city girls here. So
ain't no city boys out there.
I don't believe there to be. No. So, you type in, on Google Maps or whatever else, like your directions, and it says, 50 minutes. I'm like, okay, cool. I get off at the train station, and that shit says after that, next part, walk 12 minutes. I'm sorry, what? You mean to tell me there's no thing to get me closer to the biggest venue in this town/city? No? Oh man, y'all got me. Fuck it, I'm already here. I already got the ticket. Walk the 12 minutes, not a problem. So naturally, of course, Rich, you know me my whole life, or not my whole life, half my whole life. I was late, of course.
No.
Right. So get there late, and I go to the bathroom to change into my Tam shirt, because I got a Tam shirt. The magic one with the one that makes people be like, why is this Japanese girl with Star David and all that kind of stuff? And I'm like, nah, it's not Star David. She's a GD. Don't worry about that. But no. Anyway, change to the shirt, go into the stall, and I look down, and I'm like, there's no, and last time I was on the show, you asked me about the squat toilet, and I was like, what the fuck is a squat toilet? Man, I look over I look down.
You had a squatter?
I closed that thing and looked down because I don't know if there was no toilet, and I see this thing just on the floor, and just amongst the tile, and I was like, this is the shit that Rich is talking about. I got a bitch.
Man, they go to the country to see that shit.
But I did not know. I mean, you described it, and it's exactly as you described it, and I was like, bro, they really out here like they about to go,
look,
like
they
in
on
position.
They out there on the wire, way down in the hole.
Right, like they in position to take a shit, like they about to deadlift, but there's no bar on the floor. Bar on the floor. They just squatting. And I'm like, boy, that's a culture shock. I wasn't expecting this one. So, I get out.
Walk through the garden. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I changed to the shirt. Go to wash my hands, and I got a hoodie over my shoulder that I wore out there, but I just changed to the shirt, whatever else. Go wash my hands. And then I go look around, like, there's no paper towels. No air dryer. Okay, whatever. So I'm walking out. And I'm drying my hands on my hoodie, right? And I walk right in. I take one step outside of the bathroom, and I look up, and Tam fucking Nakano is like literally four feet in front of me. She stops in her tracks. I stop in my tracks. I look up and I'm almost like, oh shit. I don't think I blurred anything out. Like when I've been in front of like people that are famous or whatever else, I blurt shit out like, and it don't even matter like the level of celebrity they are. Like for example, there was a dude that played at Florida State named Chris Hope that was a couple-time Pro Bowler safety for the Tennessee Titans. I were at the Super Bowl, like when we were at the Hard Rock one time.
I remember this. Yeah.
Super Bowl, yeah. Like all of a sudden I just brought out, oh shit, it's Chris Hope, and he's like literally like 4 feet in front of me, and all of a sudden he looked around and was like, you know, football players at him was no respect to be seen or known or whatever, especially when it was like a safety, he ain't no superstar player. I shook his hand and whatever else. Like I just look up, she looks at me, and then she points at my shirt, and I was like, I waved at her, and I looked to just behind her, there's a dude like shooting footage of her, like, you know, doing the, you know, Hamilton Hero thing, and I was like, this shit's gonna make tape. Like me walking out the bathroom, wiping my wet ass hands on this shirt, and then looking up and seeing her. That shit's gonna make tape.
We need the clip.
With my luck, that shit's gonna make tape.
We need that. We need that all over Twitter. We need, you know, the impossible. You know, we need, you know, James just running into Tam Nakano, you know.
Just fucking random. And then, you know, obviously, like, she knows as much English as I know Japanese, so all we did was wave and then move it on, and that's it. And I just went and sat down, I'm like, that's crazy. Wasn't expecting that one.
Should ask for the number.
How? We don't speak the same language. I should have asked for the language. I should have asked for the number. What the fuck? Anyway, how? We are working on different operating systems. Right? Like, one of us is Android, another one of us is Linux. Right? Like, just don't compute at all.
Look, say she fucking around digging you the number. She'll give you a phone number that got like too many numbers or not enough. Like,
right.
That you can't call.
Like, I don't even know what the code, like, I think the code for Japan, like, the international code is like 81 and ours is 1. So it's like, I don't even know how that works. So whatever. I know how that works, but like, I don't even know their code for Japan. Anyway, use the Translate app. Yeah, because those work so smoothly. like thinking this. Let me get that. Zach stupid. But anyway,
Black Saber Jr. I would have spit game. No cap. I'm built different.
I guess you are. I'm built different. It's like, look, man, I came here to watch you wrestle. I ain't coming for much else. Like, I just want to, like, I'm imagining myself in other situations. Like, hey, bro, like, they ain't come here for all that. Like, if you want to be nice, that's cool. But as far as like greeting the fans, but people want to go home to be a regular human being. Like, how often do we see celebrities or wrestlers in particular talk about like, I get out the airport and like motherfuckers are, you know, at my gate, like with memorabilia want me to sign it. And I tell them to fuck off. I just want my privacy. Like, yeah, like, so I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And went in. Well, so another thing that was interesting. Sorry.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. After the show, I'm in the lobby. I'm back at the lobby, and I look around and I look at their like glass case of like, you know, special things, whatever else, and I see like their Olympic stuff. Well, I guess when the Olympic torch came through, so I see a picture of Okada, and then I look into like this glass casing, and then I look, and it's like their actual like I guess their area's version of Olympic torch that Okada had from the 2020 Olympics. When you're running around the country. And then inside the same case is like the poster from the November show that they had in Anjo with a signature from Okada. And then right next to it is like this Tam with her sign for the poster from like that show I was at, right? I'm just like, this is the level of town we're in. We're like, the two wrestlers are in the fucking glass
town
case.
Heroes.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this is way smaller than I thought it was going to be. And I was like, and it made me think, it was like, wow, I'm probably like the 50th black person that Tam Nakano's ever seen in person. And that was a part of my head. But yeah, that was the gist of my story, man. Oh yeah, I almost missed my plane out of Tokyo. Yeah.
That's yeah. Wild.
Let's probably like cut it by like 3 minutes. They closed it, they probably like that bitch by like 3 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
Othero Negro brings up James has made it into the Tam lore.
That would be funny if they actually pull that video up. Cause like it was weird, bro. I'm like, oh shit, and I'm wet ass hands and wipe my hands on the thing, and then like look over to my left and like, oh, this is recorded too. Great.
On tape.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's great.
Nah, I was thinking of like, okay, so Seamus X Nova says James finna get one of those glass casings for being the 50th black person. I was thinking more like the Xbox 360, like at the bottom, achievement unlocked. Yes. I was thinking more like that, but whatever.
Oh man. Well, overall, you were there for 15 days.
Yep.
Sound like
12 shows.
Food was worth it. 12 shows. I feel like you would go again.
Yeah,
you know, you were out there almost by yourself. Like you ran into Velkej, I believe.
Couple times, yeah.
Was there anybody else that you ran into out there?
A couple of Velkej's friends. So also like in the Voice of Wrestling Discord, there was also because his name is like it sounds inappropriate. His name is the Debbler. So
okay, yeah.
So met him too, and two of their friends. They were really helpful, like after Ripmania. So like as far as like, hey, if you see this super long ass line, because like they do in Corrigan they do the sell merch before the show, and then after the show, if there's a demand, like they have across the street in a building, like they do signings after too. So that line was around the corner. So like they was giving me game on like, hey, if you don't got the patience for this, just go and get a 2-shot. And I was like, but I don't really want to get a 2-shot because I don't really want to take pictures with the wrestlers. And like the first go round, it was Hikaru Shida was up, and I was like, I mean, I like Shida, but like I'm good. And then and I was like, that line didn't move forever. And next time they came in, they were like, yeah, the Ice Infinity champion, Sayoriano. Yes, Sayoriano. Yes, I'm taking a picture with you because I'm getting in here to look at this merch and get out of here because I'm tired of waiting. So end up taking a 2-shot with her, and they have like the plastic in between, and like from the way they take the picture, like you can't really see the plastic. And she was trying to do the too sweet with me, and I was like, no, I just want to take the picture. It's fine. Like, not like, because like, I don't want to get too involved with the pictures. Like, I'm looking at the people that came before me, and they're like all into these pictures. Like, they having the time of their lives. I'm like, y'all ain't got no, like, how do I say this? Y'all ain't got nobody in their lives that'll clown y'all. That's what that is. Like, I just want to take this picture. Look, I've always thought Sayori was good. This is like the first one of like this year's when I finally realized like exactly how good she is. She's actually really good. So I like her, but it's not like, it's not like I'm about to, be that particular brand of Joshi fan. So like, I just like take the picture, lean in or whatever else and, do one of these and take the picture. And I told her that she had a great match. And then I went to Sheeta's line and got 2 shirts. I got a shirt for me and I got a shirt for you, and she actually signed. I actually got her to sign your shirt because I know you're a big Sheeta fan. So
this is
show the checky. Okay, hold on.
This is the Sheeta shirt. I don't have it. I'm not wearing it, but you guys can kind of see. Pretty dope.
Luckily, I have it by.
Appreciate it.
Also, the one thing I know is with these Polaroids, these Shecky Polaroids, they're much like those 80 cameras where it's like, oh yeah, black people, they don't have any way to make your skin tone look good. You just dark as hell. So here you go. I don't know if y'all can get a good picture of that, but yeah, you see me just leaned over and she's trying to too sweet. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Just take the picture. And I got a mask on too.
That joint looked like she got a mystery partner.
Yeah, exactly. This is like the pictures. These are like the pictures like I was taking in my grandma's house when I was a kid. It's like why does everybody look like a slave in these pictures? That's a terrible thing you think in my head. Like, bro, we're not really that dark, is we? What the fuck? Like, what is going on? And then you find out later, it's like, oh yeah, the Polaroid didn't do that. And I was like, oh okay, whatever. Never taking a check again. If I go over there.
That's great. Look, lucky you ain't bring Alex. Lucky you ain't bring Alex.
Nah, because Alex already know what that is. Alex would have brought a light with him.
All right, man. Let's get to it. So, Vince McMahon, I blacked out on him last week for
I heard
pretty much 20 minutes uncut, just off the dome. But James, what is your reaction to this coup this man successfully pulled off, and then the rumors with Saudi Arabia stuff, and just whatever you kind of think about all this?
Whether he sells or not, I believe that this is a play for him to get to the chair, get back into the creative chair. And I felt that in my bones. That's my gut reaction at first hearing the news. And then, like, as it's gone on, and you keep hearing, like, basically at every fucking show, Triple H having to have a meeting to try to restore confidence that he's going to be the guy. And everything they keep saying keeps turning out to be days later be bullshit. It leads me to believe that, like, he's going to get the chair again. And I feel bad for, like, my friends and the people whose opinions I respect on WWE Pro Wrestling and pro wrestling in general that still watch the show and have noted that, like, the show is better without Vince. And, like, for all the concerns that people had about it, with the stock price go down because Vince is the only person who knows how to make this thing run, and lo and behold, Triple H has ran in a general net sense, like, a better show creatively, and the stock didn't plummet, which means, like, there was no, and, like, the wrestlers are all happier now, and it seems to be more organized, and there's no, like, stop and start pushes for 3 weeks and then tell someone to get fucked. And it doesn't seem as the decisions on the show doesn't seem as knee jerk, and, like, matches get advertised and they're also delivered. And to see all of that, and to see that, like, Vince is back, it's like, oh, he doesn't care. He's actually, like, this is just I want my toy back. This isn't about, like, what's best for business. This isn't about anything, because, like, what's best for business, him not come back, because it's been better without him. And and I don't know if it's he can't stomach that thing, or he just wants his toy back, or whatever else. But, like, this is him. There's no positive for him coming back whatsoever. None. Like, the whole thing where, like, he more or less told them that, like, hey, I'm not going to approve any sale you come up with unless you bring me back into power. It's like, this is all just a long con to get him back in the door, and now he's back in the door, and I feel bad. I feel for the people that watch this, and for the people that are the talents that have to deal with him being back, because it's only a matter of time. And, I would be absolutely shocked if he's not, back in creative, fucking up stuff. And I mean, it's already been, like, kind of, let out the bag that, like, Triple H is, like, listening to him. And and I think we all kind of knew that, but, like, to the extent of, like, hey, what do you think of this? And then he'll take it under consideration, as opposed to, kind of like, he watched what's on TV and then says, how about this? So yeah, I'm not happy at all.
If you believe, like, Triple H is, like, going to end up as the man with the final say, I think I have some oceanfront property in Idaho ready for you.
Right.
Anytime you want to purchase.
Right.
I said a lot last week about it, and I think the only thing I didn't really mention was it slips my mind at the moment, but just seeing, like, the day he comes back, because we know he's going to put himself back on television at some point, kind of just to swing his dick around.
Yep, they get cheered.
And it's going to happen. And I kind of told everyone last week, like, y'all know what this is. Do not have any reservations about addressing this man by his full title. I'm not talking about Mr. McMahon. I'm not talking about the genius. I'm not talking about the grandfatherly figure. I'm talking about alleged rapist Vince McMahon. And this is just, as I mentioned last week, it was a white man with a lot of money and power. Ironically, that couldn't take no for an answer, which was the problem in the first place. The rumors that they were going to sell to Saudi Arabia came out the day after One Nation Radio last week. And when that came out, I was like, I can't believe this. And I was blasting off on Twitter. It was a epic night on Twitter, I'll say that. But the following day, they like some reporting got out and said, no, it has not been sold to Saudi Arabia. There's not a deal on the table as of yet. And there was a lot of as of yet attached to that stuff, whether it went through Ariel Helwani, Sean Ross Sapp. Both of them included these timed kind of descriptions of this. So all that tells me is not there isn't a deal with Saudi Arabia. It's just that maybe it hasn't, come to fruition yet. And we've learned that they're in this pool. I just have to say, if WWE is sold to Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia Public Interest Fund, whatever. I was in a Twitter space last week talking about it. Call me a nerd, call me a dork, but I can't imagine like the history of American wrestling literally just like sold on a whim to like this dictatorship and these people that don't give a fuck about it. And it would really be one of the saddest days in the history of pro wrestling. And with that, they'd be reinstalling Vince. Essentially, the company would go private, among other things, and Vince would be operating unchecked as ever because he would answer to no one but the Saudis. And we would have to, James, have you thought about how we would have to hear people try to make sense of this and defend it and say why it's okay that that would have happened?
I mean, I've already seen people do it's kind of similar to what happens every time there is a, Greatest Royal Rumble thing where like they talk about how there are other companies also embedded in Saudi Arabian money. And I'm just like, yeah, those aren't good either. What's your point?
And also they're not doing sports washing with the government.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know if y'all watch any other thing, but like, have you ever like seen of the last like year or so, like what's been going on with these golfers that double dip and live in PGA Tour or have moved over to live? It hasn't been sweet for them. Like people have been furious about them. People have been talking about like about Saudi Arabia and 9/11 to them all the time, this whole entire time. Like don't think that like this is a thing where people are picking on WWE. It's not. So.
And then think about like how much like, if that was the case, they'd be having a lot of money. The contracts could like get just absolutely ridiculous. Like talking about like wrestler, his free agency, no shame to that wrestler. Let's say wrestler X, his free agency, right? When they want to sign them for $20 million a year, like shit's going to start getting fucked up. Like if that's like the way this shit ends up going. Not saying I'm an advocate of people getting their money, right? But like all money ain't good money, as they once said. Also in that pool, this is a little bit more comedic, but apparently AEW, like Tony Khan and Shad Khan were in the pool of potential buyers, in addition to like Comcast and Disney and like ESPN, ABC, like all the fucking, all those people. But without a doubt, the funniest option would be them selling that shit to TK and Shad Khan. And man, have you thought about this, James?
I've thought about it only like for comedic purposes. And also, like I personally think like, I think so highly of Tony Khan as a booker from what he's done over the last, since AEW started. I think that like, quite frankly, if he were in charge of WWE, like WWE would be awesome. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. But yeah, thinking about like what would happen, like ultimately I think it's in the long run is a net negative. Like I don't really want like all of major American pro wrestling to be owned and operated by one guy. Like we just got done with that. Obviously he'll handle it a lot better, but it's still like, there's only but so many ideas that can come out of like one particular group, if you know, or one brain trust for pro wrestling, if you will. Regardless of how many there are, I just think like I want to see like one group. I want to see multiple groups be able to do this and see what they can come up with. Because you know, like AEW has taught or should have taught many people like there's more than one way to do this, and like for you know most of the last 20 something years, it's been like drilled in almost like
to a fault,
almost like ingrained in people, right? Almost indoctrinated people that there's only one way to do something. So yeah, I don't think even if there are obvious like aesthetic changes or differences between AEW and WWE under a Khan regime, I still don't think it's necessarily in the long run good for American major pro wrestling for it to be all ran by one particular family.
So there's a lot to this, and I've seen people theorize that this is like, and the way that this news got picked up, it was weird how it was worded a little bit. Like places like CNBC would say AEW is interested in merger with WWE, and then you read the column and it's like, nah, they're trying to buy them boys. Like, but like the marketing of this, I think, has been invaluable. And the visibility for AEW and TK, and just getting AEW's name in the same sentence as WWE to a lot of the outside world, to where it's like, oh no, there's like they'll buy them or whatever if it comes to it, even if they like, you know, your average pro wrestling fan doesn't really see that as realistic. The regular person may not. They'd be like, hold on, WWE is going to get sold to who? Because those stories don't really make it clear or anything. So
yeah, and one thing I want people to like, they do the net worth thing. Like, this person's only worth this, so therefore you can't buy it. That's not how that works. When you are worth that amount of money, like, you can get a credit line. Like, do we not have Tillman Fertitta as still the owner of the Rockets when he didn't have the money ever to do that? He never had the capital to do that. He's still the owner. Like, what are we talking about? This happens.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's more of a possibility than people are giving it credit to being. I just don't think it's actually going to happen. But like, the people just like pausing the brakes on those, like, they don't have the money to do it. It's like, that's not how that works.
There's a lot of cope being going on. I feel like in some of these crowds, they would rather, like suckers, WWE, they would rather them sell that shit to Saudi Arabia than Tony Khan, which says a lot about them.
So, one thing that also is like, the one thing I'd be wary of when it comes to the Saudi Arabia thing is like, okay, if it actually happens, it's like, well, what's to stop them from just all of a sudden just pull the plug on the shit and like in one day, like all of a sudden do like a WCW type thing, not right. Like whereas like if you can't find a buyer, we'll shut it all down. We don't care.
Right. Then
what happens?
You know, it's all up in the air. Maybe they'd sell it back to someone. Who knows? But
that's a good point. They probably would download it as opposed to shut it down. But then again, who knows? But
we will obviously keep up more on that story as it evolves with Vince McMahon, his return, yuck, and the possible sale of WWE. But
with one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Let's switch gears and talk about January 4th, the Tokyo Dome, Wrestle Kingdom 17. James, have you got a chance to check any of this out back on tape yet?
No, I have not. But I do have my live experience. I will get around to it. Like I have to watch the summer main event on the TV copy of it, or if you will.
Boy.
Look, this was a great show, and I was dog tired watching it. Like normal insomniac myself. I only had a couple hours that between that night to sleep in. Like it was a great show. Like it wasn't like the peak level. Like it's not Wrestle Kingdom 9 or 11 or whatever else. But like it was just like it felt like actual Wrestle Kingdom in a way that like these shows in the last couple of years haven't, like, not since really 2020.
Yeah. So we had like the pre-show stuff. I didn't watch any of that.
Yeah, I skipped that too.
Yeah. So
it's like, hey, you can get like a half hour sleep or none. And I was like, sorry Shingo, sorry Ishii, sorry, just can't do it.
Okan show. Yeah. Sorry. But this opened up with Catch 2-2, TJP and Francisco Akira taking on Team Leo for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team match or tag team titles. And this was a throwback to the great junior openers of yesterday. TJP and Akira ended up getting the victory. Leo Rush ended up getting bust open out
early
there
in the match on the ramp.
Yeah, and that was a lot to see. But this was a hell of a match. I thought like the explosion, I wish I got more time, but 10 minutes was good enough to kind of get the point across. Catch 2-2 has been on quite a roll since winning these belts, and I got my eye on these guys.
I mean, they're both really good tag teams, and like they're really into Leo. Like Leo was getting like the calls and the chants like after he got bust open. Like they were really into him. It was interesting like seeing how like some of the guys' reactions, for at least from my section, or at least from what stuff I can hear from different parts of the building. But like you could hear from on the floor they were chanting for Leo to to make it back and get the hot tag and everything. And ultimately at the end, your boy Show gets fucking pinned because, of course.
It's all good. Yo made the card, Show did not, so works for me. Up next, I went 3 3/4 on that on the opener.
Yeah, it was a damn good match. Yeah.
So up next,
I wouldn't be mad if someone gave it 4.
Yeah. Up next, we had a singles match for the IWGP Women's Championship. Kairi taking on Tam Nakano, and man. I guess we should say this. They got absolutely slayed on time, and from that whole presentation, I didn't like it. Regardless of the work they did, like when they were doing like their super finishers and inside of 5 minutes and stuff, it was just like, this is a total snow job. No offense to either of them. They worked hard, and it's not in their control. But I thought the presentation of this just was awful, especially like how they rolled the belt out in the main event with the long match, and then they get 5 minutes here, and then it's just a backdrop for Mercedes Moné to come out. This can't be what anyone wanted.
So, I have similar opinions as you do. I would also add that like, in the promo at the beginning or in the build up or selling in the commercials of this show, like the way that they talked about this match or promoted this match, if it was going to be like 4 from the top, and then like the Muto match drops, and then now all of a sudden it's second, and then you're like scratching your head like, okay, I am I have concerns about this belt and what it actually is going to do for Stardom / New Japan, especially Stardom domestically. Like, domestically for Stardom is not going to do jack shit for them. So let's get to the match. Let's talk about the match really quick. Watching it, it felt like I thought they were about to go, the way they were wrestling, like, this is going to go like 10, 11 minutes. And, and like at the point where Kyrie has said, the cutlass, and Kyrie goes up for the elbow, I thought Tam was going to fire up, get to the top rope, hit a shoot headbutt, and some type of suplex him on the floor, and then they're going to just go back, big brawl, and then throw big moves at each other again, and someone's going to get pinned. And then Kyrie just landed into the elbow, and it was over. And I was like, oh, so there was no closing stretch in this sprint-looking match. Jeremy gave it 3.5. Meltzer gave it 3.25. Something like that. But it's like 6 minutes, or barely. It's not even 6 minutes. It's 5 minutes and 40-some seconds. And it's really weird what this belt is doing, or what this belt has already done to the Stardom roster. So originally they came up with this tournament, August, and they attached to it saying like, hey, there's somebody unbelievably famous that's going to be in this thing. And then the unbelievably famous person never came around. And then all of a sudden, like, the word was, it's Mercedes. It's like, and she's going to be at the Tokyo Dome. It's like, okay. So to me, it seemed like they thought that she was going to be able to like walk out of WWE and go straight to New Japan / Stardom. And because of her amount of money, she her asking price, they put her on a New Japan. They used the New Japan budget to spend for her instead of Stardom. And because of that, they decided to make this belt. So you are in Japan with the most popular Japanese women wrestlers in the country, and this all to set up to get the belt to Mercedes, and that's fine. I just had questions about her, of what it's going to do for you in the long term of feeding your roster to her, especially if like she just goes back to WWE in like a year, 6 months, 9 months, whatever.
Which is a possibility, right?
And ultimately, when the matches go off, I'm not like that's gonna like. I'm in the thing of like thinking about it in that certain way, right? But like once and when the 4-star matches go off, I'm gonna talk about this a lot less. It's gonna matter to me less. Because you can always rebuild people, right? But the thing that was weird for me was like, or me thinking about it, is like, okay, so Tam at worst was like the number 2 most over domestic person in Stardom this year. She was more over than Julia, more over than Mayu this year. The only person that you could say would be in front of her would be Starlight Kid. As far as like popularity, merchandise, blah, 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 blah. So you already got your number 1 star. You already got one of your 2 biggest stars of the past year coming in eating the L in less than 6 minutes. Squished. to somebody that left before the company took off in popularity, domestically. And now it is a person that only means but so much to this newfound audience because she wasn't around post Bushiroad expansion. She's just been here the last 9 months. Maybe? 9 months. Let's say 9 months, right? Yeah. Let's say 9 months. And then she's going to face this person's brand new and in, and she's a big star, obviously, but she's a big star in a different country. I'm having concerns on how internationally is going to grow the profile of Stardom if the Stardom wrestlers get fed, and like maybe there's somebody they have in mind to beat her. Maybe they change. Maybe who knows? Like I don't know. Like who I just don't know. We'll see. But these are more like down the line concerns if it progresses a certain way. We'll see. But yeah, it just felt like, okay, so you fundamentally it felt flaws. Like, okay, so you're going to squash your number 2 of 2022 to put to this person that's below her, and then the person below her is going to then put over this person, and then like also like the person that we wanted to have the belt at first, like also turned down the belt or whatever. It's
not a mark. Really, Mayu Iwatani wins. It's a
lot of like unfortunate stuff going on right now.
Somebody let Mayu see the booking sheet. She was like, "No way."
So
Kyrie retained.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, we got the new music for Mercedes, kind of like a interpolation of like the Hustle in the House kind of sample. She's coming out, and she has she has some type of gown on. It has like the Japanese flag on it, and she has the Statue of Liberty on her head. It's all really good. She gives in the ring, takes that off, shows ring gear, but you see her in these huge boots where she's like towering over Kyrie. So I'm like, okay, obviously she's not wrestling or anything, and it looks like they're setting up a challenge. And then they go for the handshake, and it falls off a cliff from there. It like, you know, they basically like confirmed the challenge. She goes for like this gory special into a DDT. It's mistimed. I don't know who mistimed it.
I think, but on replay, most people say that Kyrie botched it, not Sasha. And then I saw what she was actually going for. And it's like, it's not bad, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, when I first heard like Sasha was, you know, might come to Stardom, whatever I was thinking, or New Japan, I was thinking about like, she needs an impact finisher, like a pinning finisher, because like people don't really get tapped out in championship matches in Japan. It doesn't really happen. That's not really a thing. So I was wondering what it was going to be, and like if it's done right, it'll look effective. But this wasn't done right.
Yeah, and then like she got on the mic and just pretty bad promo here. It felt like she was like speaking slowly because like, you know, she was trying to communicate with a foreign audience. It sounded like she was drunk, right? Quite frankly, like it seemed like she was slurring her words. Like it was like, I was like, what is this? This is awful. And I don't think it was after the handshake. Like I said, it went all off a cliff. I started thinking about, well, how many unscripted promos has Sasha Banks probably ever cut? Not many. And you know, it was just a debut, but I don't know, man. It was I wasn't feeling it. But the Ticket Buyer public doesn't agree with me. They sold lots of tickets in Battle in the Valley.
They certainly did.
And the stands were all online saying this was the only highlight of the show, and you know, everything, whatever.
Not the match of the decade contender.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was I hated all this. Like just the combination of the short match, the stuff with like the bad angle, the bad promo, the botch move, and it was just like, if you thought they didn't respect women's wrestling in America, wait till New Japan gets a taste of this. They want some of that too.
Yeah. Ultimately, like when I talk about that, like it to me, it seems like they had a certain amount of time devoted to, much like AEW does, had a certain amount of time devoted to women's segments or women's stuff, and like they're like, oh, we need time for Sasha to have her long video promo, her walk down, her promo, her beat down of, or her laying out Kyrie and all that, and like we're just going, you know, I think last year that Stardom match had like 9 minutes, and they threw the kitchen sink in that 9 minutes, more or less, right? It was like, okay, so now we got to cut that shit down. You got to take 3 minutes from that because we only got a certain amount of time. That's what it felt like. And it's like, all right, if that's what this is going to be,
Chief.
That's not what people want out of, that's what people want to see. And like, there are going to be times where like, you know, it's gonna be funny because like that shit will be on New Japan shows, and that shit will be on Stardom shows, and like if them shits is like under 10 minutes on New Japan shows or defenses, and then like they come to Stardom and they get 15 minutes or 18 minutes, people are gonna be like, what the fuck are y'all doing? And people are not gonna be happy with no 10-minute Sasha Banks match.
Yeah,
they're not wrong.
Yeah, man. So let's move on. We got Bishamon taking on FTR for the IWGP Tag Team titles, and this rocked. They went 10 minutes. They went hard, and they came in here, and both teams just hit each other hard as fuck, and were working and like taking risks, moving. And I went 4 stars on this one. I thought this was solid as fuck, and Yoshihashi pinned Dax in the Tokyo Dome.
Yep, I'm with you. 4 stars on this. Really enjoyed the match. Great match. And this is when I started noticing it. Like, I saw this, like, okay, Sasha came out, and then next thing you know, Dax and Cash came out. I was like, oh, they look click. You know, they said, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here early. Let's go celebrate. You know, they look click. And then sure enough, next thing you know, you see them 3 plus Bailey. And I was like, they pulled that like WrestleMania 28 where like Randy Orton was in the opener against Kane. I was like, look, man, it's my birthday. I'm getting out of here and I'm finna go get fucked up. Yeah, like one thing about the FTR thing is after they lost the matches, they went to and they were walking to the dugout. They got a hefty, respectful clap and applause from the Japanese fans. Like they like them, they appreciate them. And, you know, obviously,
maybe they can go over there some more.
That's what I was getting at. Like, obviously, they weren't around that often, but, like, they do see them and respect them as, like, big deals in wrestling. They really did. Like, because we'll get to it later, another motherfucker that had a championship belt that when he was walking to that dugout didn't get shit from that crowd. So we'll get to it later.
But shout out to Bishamon. So just who doesn't love Goto and Yoshihashi? They've got the matching gear now, and they've kind of like formed into a real team. Yoshihashi's not a geek anymore. Goto is like this great wrestler who just ended up in the tag team. He just feels like, you know, him and Sheamus, you know, just you know, they're the same guy. Essentially, I would love a Hiroki Goto and Sheamus match if I could get it somewhere. But yeah. Really like Bishamon, like, and hope they come through for Forbidden Door again. So, yeah, man. Up next, we had Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Ren Narita for the New Japan World Television Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. coming out there with the blonde hair now. Looks like somebody whooped his ass with a bottle of peroxide. And him and Ren Narita had this kind of hard-hitting, kicking, like flash finish kind of match. Thought this was pretty good as well. I didn't feel it on the same level as a tag match, but this is the first time Zack Sabre has got a belt in New Japan.
Well, singles belt, yeah.
Singles belt, yeah. And Ren Narita loses. A lot of people thought Ren Narita was gonna, you know, get that launch pad, but I insist he has to not be you know, Shibata 2.0. Like he's got to like figure something out. Like, I
mean, yeah, I think so too. In the long run, if he wants to get to like, if he wants to catch up to like where we all think they're going to put Shota, then yeah, he will have to like become more of his own man. But it's funny considering like Shota is basically like he's new Tanahashi.
Bro, but, I swear it's like Tanahashi and Naito doing the fusion dance.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that like they're about to feud, and it's like, and, you know, not just be justified, be like, this motherfucker can't come out here looking just like Tanahashi. When y'all got mad at me when I wasn't even nearly looking close as like Tanahashi as this dude is. What's so different? But anyway, it's because Tanahashi's old now. Fuck y'all. Anyway, so yeah, like I thought it was a very good match. And I think, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world if like Ren Narita has to come back to it and chase Zack down. You know, obviously you have New Year's Dash stuff that happened the night after, where all of a sudden, like, you know, Sabre they come out, the Aussies come out and they're like, "Can you please be our leader?" And he's like, "Fine, I'll do it. Why not?" And I'm taking a young boy with me too. So, but yeah, like, you know, I really liked I don't know if we'll talk about it much, but like I really like the directions that they came up with, like New Year's Dash.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's fresh, new, exciting.
So up next we have Tama Tonga taking on Carl Anderson for the Never Openweight Championship. This went about 9 minutes. When I was watching live, I actually got in while this match was going, and I thought they worked kind of hard in this. Strangely, like kind of enjoyed what I saw here. And aside from the finish, where I think there may have been some brotherism going on here.
You think?
Oh yeah. But besides that, I was into this. I thought Tama Tonga looked great in this match.
The
and
crowd,
Carl worked hard too.
They loved Tama
Shocker.
Tonga. They loved Tama Tonga. I think the crowd was into it because Tama was in the match. Carl Anderson, like, even when he's lazy, he's still competent. Like, outside of like that one match from later, from late last year, like the Hikuleo stuff, like, he's a competent wrestler, regardless of his motivation level. So yeah, it was okay. But like, I'm watching this match, I'm like, really? How long did it go?
9:35.
Yeah. I'd rather they swap times with Kyrie and Tam, but whatever. Yeah.
Oh man, we gotta show respect for 2012 G1 finalist Carl Anderson.
Yeah. The crowd didn't show no respect. So Tama wins with the gun stunt finally getting it. And then after the match, Carl Anderson walks the dugout. It's crickets. It's quiet. And as he gets to the first step before taking the first step down on the dugout, he sticks both arms in the air, and the crowd still didn't give him shit. And I fucking died laughing. I was like, nobody wanted you to come back. People were tired of you with this fucking belt. People recognize you're fucking lazy. And
was it worth it? Everyone that's listening to this, that if you were talking to yourself and months and months of Carl Anderson and being in WWE and whatever that does for him being in this match, was it worth it?
Yeah. How about
I liked the match, but
how about
come
the part
on,
where
man.
it's like, the promos about like he tries hard when the lights are bright, it's all that kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, you tried a little bit harder, and like this still is like not in the bottom half of matches on the card. Great. Awesome. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Like, no heat. Like, luckily they love Tama Tonga.
Right.
Because if they didn't.
Right. Like, if this was 2018 Tama Tonga, this match would have got crickets. Nothing.
But up next, we have the 6-man tag team match. I don't even know what the Keiji Muto stipulations are at this point. Like, they're finding a bunch of different ways to milk his last. I think this was Keiji Muto's last New Japan match. That's how they marketed this one. So
okay, I'm sure they haven't done that one before.
Yeah, like last time it was the Great Muda's last, and then he has the Great Muda bye in like on the 21st in Noah, and I think that's supposed to be it.
We'll see.
We'll see. No, it's not. It's Keiji Muto's last match in the Dome, and they're doing it, I think, in February or March. Yeah, and that's like a I believe that's a Noah card, I think, or it's like a freelance, like Muto himself. It's one of those, and yeah, I'm totally lost on where Muto is, and I this year, I think last week I said we still can't rule him out for Finesser of the Year.
Right.
This
you
year
don't know if he's going to retire.
Coming. So, yeah. So we had Keiji Muto, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Shota Umino taking on LIJ of Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, and Bushi. This was okay. There was a funny part in the beginning.
Yes.
Keiji Muto paired off with Sanada. Sanada gets the quick jump on him, and he gives him the fucking moonsault, and Muto kicks out of that shit like it looked like he didn't break a sweat. And stands back up, and then he teases that he wants to do his own moonsault, and then Hiroshi Tanahashi is like, "Big dog, that ain't how this works no more. You will die."
See, I took it as, because you remember he was selling matches before the last Keiji Muto last Great Muda shows in particular towns. Like, he was, before he got to that, he was doing this is the last time you get to see the moonsault or whatever else. So I thought Tanahashi was saying, "Hey, bro, you can't do this. You already sold tickets in this house doing this, or in this town doing this. You can't be doing that." I couldn't tell because
either that or
the comedy of the part where this man griffs so much that he didn't know that particular move was moved from the tool bag or from the golf bag. So
his knees would have exploded into dust had he tried to do that unchecked. But this all kind of, this was a standard 6-man tag kind of. Tetsuya Naito and Keiji Muto never touched each other, the young boy Josh Smith pointed out. Wonder if there's something to that. But this ended up with Shota Umino getting the pinfall. I was absolutely shocked on the broadcast, James. I don't know if you know how this all worked out, but let me tell you.
Okay.
So Keiji Muto, I think, from knowing what Muto is like, it seems like he was told Shota Umino is getting the pin. Fuck you. You're old. This is the future. Go out there and do the right fucking thing. And Keiji Muto was like, I can't really fuck this up because it's Wrestle Kingdom. I gotta go ahead and just do the thing. I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna make this shit about me somehow anyway.
Right. And what happened? Like,
so this motherfucker,
he hits the fucking Shining Wizard. He hits the fucking Shining Wizard for Uno to get the win.
He hits the fucking Shining Wizard. Uno fucking gets the pin, and then do you want to stick around and raise the kid's hand? Do you want to do the photo op with Muto, Tanahashi, Umino? No. Keiji Muto wants to get the fuck out of there, similar in a way that he did with Kaito Kiyomiya.
Yep.
This man starts hitting it up the Muto ain't moved this fast in years. He's hitting it up the fucking dugout, soaking in the cheers. By the way, this crowd's going fucking nuts for him.
Yes, they are. Like that's the one thing, like that Noah show that I went to, like, bro, like not same like when Nakamura and Muta came out on at that Budokan Hall 1-1 show for Noah, like it was a completely different crowd. Like that crowd outside of the Sunday event mostly behaved like a clap crowd that I had been in all these shows, and then all of a sudden like the violinists came out and like it turned into like we were transported back to like 2000 before what pandemic? They lost their shit, and then this thing happened here, and like bro, they were losing it for Muta or for Muto. They were losing it for him.
However, Hiroshi Tanahashi says, I'm not having this shit. And Tanahashi waddles his ass up there saying, no, you're not about to get this camera time, because the camera's following Muto the whole time. They stopped shooting Shota Umino completely. And Tanahashi's like, fuck that. You're walking with me. We're getting the fucking shine. And I just noticed like Muto being like, almost like, what the fuck are you doing, guy? Like, you trying to cramp my spot. But Tanahashi was doing that, one of those, you bitch, I got you, one of those.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was the funny part kind of about this.
Yeah. Just so.
Muto, you can't ever underestimate this guy, man.
Yeah. And he knows that, like, there's 2 cameras on the floor, and, like, one has to follow him. He knows that.
Unbelievable, Muto. Unbelievable. Up next, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match. Hiromu Takahashi, Taiji Ishimori, El Desperado, and Master Wato. And Hiromu Takahashi ends up getting the win to win back the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. And I thought this was them trying to will Master Wato to greatness, and I think Wato did a great job. By the end, I was ready to see him win. I thought they did an excellent job between all the other 3 guys lifting him up and then working with each other. I don't think Hiromu's like the peak Hiromu that he was like 5 years ago or anything. And I feel like his heavyweight, the thought of him going heavyweight, that ship has sailed. I could be wrong, but this was a solid as fuck match. I was way more positive on this match going out of it than I was coming into it.
Yeah. The whole point of this match, or it seemed to me like the whole point that they were trying to get over was like, everyone knows everyone's sitting here looking at like, why the fuck is Wato in this match? We're going to make everybody get into Wato in this match. And I thought they did this successfully. Like, I thought they told the story perfectly to get the crowd into biting for the near falls for him and wanting him to actually pull the upset. Ultimately, it didn't happen. But yeah, like, I thought this match was very damn good. Really fun stuff. And it was interesting, like, I was wearing a Hiromu shirt there. And like, he wins, and I was happy for it or whatever else, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I thought maybe like they were building towards like trying to have him a fresh like trying to have him a fresh like opponent and have him a Wato, but then it's like New Year's Dash he ends up he's getting linked up with a different fresh opponent in Yo. So like I think like we won't see him versus Desperado for a while. I think now his point is like try to establish like the younger guys in that division. So like we'll probably see Show too. But yeah, I'm interested to see like what this reign looks like. And I think at this point, like none of his reign should go long.
Yeah, he's he's the elder statesman now. As weird as that sounds,
right?
But yeah, man. Up next, singles match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Kenny Omega taking on Will Ospreay. And my God, these boys blessed us. I've been waiting damn near 2 weeks to talk about this match. I have not so much as really even like said too much about it, but gotta zoom. Oh man. What can one say except y'all must have forgot. Y'all forgot who the fuck Kenny Omega was. Y'all fucking forgot who the Best Bout Machine was. Y'all motherfuckers watched 2022 go by and motherfuckers tried to sleep on my dog. Tried to just hate y'all way into everything. You combine with the All Out stuff and just like it's just a lot of revisionist history going on. The puro dorks that were upset. This had all the buzz and everything, and it was just like it was sickening. Really, it was nauseating. It was when I watched this match, I watched a true dream match happen, and all of you did too, and you know it, and it burns you up that you're hating. And you had to watch it, and you had to go out there and lie if you weren't fucking with it. I've seen the people online. I've seen the mostly critical acclaim for this. They asked me, Rich, were you surprised at the critical acclaim? No! I know who Kenny Omega is. I know who Will Ospreay is. The only thing is, it seems like some of y'all don't know who these people are. Match of the fucking decade contender. What are we doing here? This is an all-time match. This is the best match in the history of the Tokyo Dome. There are some people that would disagree. Could you throw Okada Omega at me? Sure you can. Could you throw various other matches at me? Sure you can.
Kabashi, Sasaki, sure.
Right.
Sure.
It's all up there. Like, these are the matches that you're talking about. Do you realize, like, Cage Match remained at like 9.8 and went as high as 9.84 before people started trying to do their little hating, do that little dance they be doing. They try to go out there and throw a 7 on something when we know that shit pie, that shit fake. You really want to hate, but you want that shit to get past the radar detection. That's what's going on. But this is one of the greatest matches of all time. Enough of the... I'm going to zoom back out so we can actually break down the match, but I just want to let people know. I can't believe that these people either underestimated or thought this was like not gonna be what the fuck it was.
So for me, I'm very Rich, you can attest to this, I'm very stubborn. In my mind, I had an idea of what this match would be like. From the dream match perspective, if you will, or even from the promos and stuff they were doing to lead up to this. And never did I think that it was going to turn into effectively a hardcore match when the only weapon, or one weapon is a table and another weapon is basically an exposed turnbuckle. And I thought that this match was going to be, kind of what you expect the first starting out match is going to be in my mind, the match we got is more like a match that would almost be like a second or third match. We got the second or third match in the first match. And that's perfectly fine. I still would at one point would want what I thought the first match was going to be. We're probably never going to get it. And I'm perfectly fine with that because this match went in a direction that I was not expecting. And it's very hard for me to come off of thinking what a match is going to be and they do something totally different and I end up liking it more. This match did that. This match was not what I expected and ended up being better than what I imagined it was going to be if it did it the way that I wanted to do it. I was very impressed. They were chopping the shit out of each other. They were beating the shit out of each other. I told you over the weekend that like the turnbuckle DDT reminds me a lot of like the Naito in Omega 2017 G1 when they did the same thing except with the post. Just like incredibly violent, very creative ways of using violence around this fucking exposed turnbuckle. And like, quite frankly, like Evil should retire from pro wrestling. Dick Togo and all them use the exposed turnbuckle. Yano too. All these years of doing that shit, and y'all ain't came up with nothing nearly as half as creative as this. This is an incredible match. Kenny Omega like back in the form of being a true Dick Gaijin, and Will Ospreay are continuing this run of like, not continuing, but like he's done it for, like he's tapped into it in the Best Super Junior final with Shingo. He's tapped into it in the G1 final this year. Like he is so fucking good at getting the domestic crowd behind him. Like they really want to see that dude win. And like I remember I ended up messaging you or messaging the whole group like as show's going on. Kenny's coming out doing a Sephiroth Final Fantasy VII shit.
I was just about to get to that.
And I had said like, hey, he did mention like he should bring back the Assassins. Like it'd be really cool if Ospreay brought back like Elevated. And then all of a sudden I hear the piano and I was like, he's doing it. And then he comes out and like the crowd just was like so happy to hear his old music. And like, there's nothing wrong with the music he has now, but it's like he has some of the best theme music. And then he decided to go with this because he turned heel or whatever else. Like, I don't know if it's back permanently. It's probably not. But like this was a story beat. Right. This was like right. But it was
this
fun
was
to
basically
hear.
Going
it was
back.
Fun to hear it in the dome.
This was a tip off that he was not going to win. Jeremy explained this beautifully on Keepin It Strong Style.
I'm assuming it was like the story is he has to find his current self as opposed to going back to old things.
Yes, and it is similar to like Tetsuya Naito trying to be the Stardust Genius
yep.
to beat Okada. Like this is like the tip off.
Sorry, at Wrestle Kingdom 12. Yeah.
This is the tip off. He was not going to win, but I watched both these entrances, and this was just like, this felt so big. This felt like the biggest match ever. Like when they came out, Kenny's coming out, got the fucking Final Fantasy music, and I'm wondering like what the fuck's going on because I don't hear Devil Sky, but I'm like, oh, it's the real one. It's the one they made Devil Sky off of. Like,
can we talk like what I talked about how he's such a great Gaijin Dick heel. Bro. This man comes out. He looks over his shoulder and he goes, and he bugs his eyes out. I'm gonna do it for the camera. I'm back. What the fuck is wrong with this dude, man?
Put this man in an asylum. Let's grab him.
Yes, shoot this man with the net gun. Like, wrap him up, put him in the back of the paddy wagon, bro. Like, what's wrong with him, man?
Bro, that shit is so funny.
And then, like, he has the match, he continue, and then he starts bludgeoning Ospreay's head with the table, and then he sticks his hand through the hole, like, on some, like, shining Jack Nicholson shit. Like, bro, this man is a fucking loon, bro. He's hilarious.
He's a true sicko, bro. And then for the match, he beat the shit out of Will Ospreay.
Yes,
he whooped this man in a way where I was like, I feel like this is the most brutal I've ever seen Kenny Omega. Like, and it's like, this is like a masterclass of Will Ospreay with the selling, and then Kenny Omega being a heel. Like, this is what people think they're watching when they're watching Jay White or something. But and I'm going to get to a point like why I maybe have figured out Jay White has never really worked for me. And this Kenny Omega match kind of showed it for me. And, we can we take the victory lap? I feel like it's a low stakes victory lap. We knew what was going to happen here, trying to put them on after this, but that's neither here or there. But just looking at it, how it's all set up, Kenny takes the U.S. belt. Ospreay, he beats Will Ospreay's ass in front of 5 of his homies, which is fucking hilarious, by the way. They set up the blade job beautifully. Like, they covered him up. It all felt like real. Like, it was just like gasp worthy stuff, like that DDT on the top, the revenge element to this, like where he finishes them with the Kamigoye, then the one wing angel. Ospreay defiantly spits at him, and it's just like, I was watching with my mouth open the last 20 minutes of the match, just like blown away in every facet of the game. Like, incredible work from both of these guys. And it's like, when we talked about someone Kenny being 39 years old, Ospreay being 29 or 30, one of them, and then like these guys still catching each other while they, while they're at the top.
They're still in their primes.
And it's like, this is what the fuck I want to watch. Like, when it comes to pro wrestling, like, this is the level that I want to see the best of wrestling be. Like, when you try to tell me it's something else, I tell you that's just fugazi. And I was so impressed with this match from both of these guys.
Yeah, it was just like, for me, in my mind, the way the match set up is like, Kenny Omega devastates him with the table stuff, and like the gap is too wide of a margin for Ospreay to ever try to realistically like make up for. And like the match keeps going, and he keeps chipping away, something like he's actually going to close the gap, and then eventually like he just runs out of gas. There's nothing left because like he literally lost the match in like the first like 10 minutes of the match or whatever it was before the time to get to the table or outside. Like, so let's say like 15 minutes or the match. He lost it then, but he just wouldn't fucking stay down until he finally was over, until he got himself in a bad situation with the Kamigoye. He was done, and he realized he was done. That's why he spit in his face. And he got put away. And like, we're gonna get another one of these, maybe even 2 more of these.
Man, sign me the fuck up. My God. Bro, he kicked the shit out of this man. Like, bro, like that shit was like, it's hard to even explain like how I felt watching it. It was just like, yo, Kenny, you might be going too far, man. Like, god damn, like don't hurt him that much. Fuck. But incredible match. This is probably gonna be the match of the year. Unless they
rematch it,
look, unless they top it.
Look, unless they rematch it, or unless like we get an Ospreay, unless we get like an Omega Okada match, nothing's gonna beat this.
Just, yeah.
Like I haven't watched a live copy.
Scale broke up.
Like this is just off my mind from being like in the outfield, and I was like, oh yeah, like this is easy 5 stars. I don't know how many they even gave out last year.
Yeah,
like 5, 6, maybe.
Dave gave this one 6.25, which a lot of people felt like that may have even been too low. For how I was expecting 6.5 the way he was talking, but yeah.
The only other match he's given 6.5 is the 7-star match, right?
Yes, this is the second highest match he's ever rated, tied with the Dominion match.
Yep. Yeah, the second match. Yeah, it went to the draw.
Yeah. Yeah. All-time match. Go out of your way to see this if you haven't seen it. If you're somebody that hasn't watched Wrestle Kingdom for whatever reason, track this down. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah, so people have asked me, like, how's my trip? And I was like, my trip was great. Like, I saw a bunch of the best matches, a bunch of, like, the top 100 or so best matches of 2022. And, like, I saw 2 of the greatest matches ever. Like this match and that Julius Shuri match, I saw it on one trip. Some people don't get to see that level of match in a lifetime. Very lucky, very fortunate.
Yeah. Oh, and then next we had the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Kazuchika Okada versus Jay White. And James, you won't believe me, but this was really hard to get into.
Oh, you think?
Like watching it immediately after Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay, and then seeing Jay White come out, and I'm just like, what are you going to do to try to like compete on this level?
Well, Okada did his thing where it's like, we're gonna come out here, we're gonna wrestle well for like the first 20 minutes, and then we'll actually we'll actually get into the match. Like, that's the thing when it comes to like these Okada matches, or like when you stack the card where you put like your best shit one after another and after another. It's like, you don't need a cooldown match. You need to use the time that you have in the ring to be your own cooldown, and you build up from there. And I thought, in typical Okada fashion, he did well with that. I thought this match was great, but obviously it paled far in comparison to the masterpiece we saw earlier, just match before. But I don't know, man. I feel like, generally speaking, unless you have for some reason 2 crazy nights with Kota Ibushi, Jay White tops out at like 4.5. That's the absolute peak for him.
I went 4.25 on this match.
Okay.
I think with Jay White, how I saw Kenny Omega beat the shit out of Will Ospreay. Oh yeah. Also, Kenny Omega's like completely rebuilt his body on the the year off or whatever. And he's came in probably looking the best that he has in ages, right? And then he kicks the shit out of Will Ospreay. Jay White comes out there with all those muscles, the great fucking abs, and the perfect body, and then like he doesn't feel like he kicks the shit out of you, and then it's just like he's
except
just
for
this
when he
weasel.
does like a choke sleeper, or sorry, a choke German. That's about
right.
it.
He's just this weasel, and then it's like I just don't buy it. Like we're talking about good and elite. And like
good, great, and elite,
yeah. And then I felt like this match was like the average of all the if we threw a score, if we threw all the Kazuchika Okada Jay White matches in a blender, right? And we were like, if we combine the best of them and the worst of them, what would you spit out? It would be this median level match.
Well,
like,
I mean,
of their matches.
Okay, so what's the best Jay White Okada match? Would it be New York City?
Yes.
Okay. And the worst one would probably be the 2018, was that G1?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you're talking about something that's like 4 1/3. You could go 4.5, you can go 4 1/4. Yeah, that's about what he does. And like, you go back and you look at like the Jay White stuff, or you think of his career, it's like, bro, like, he has 2 all-time classics, if you will, like, in a general consensus type of thing. And both of them with Kota Ibushi, and they're both when like he's playing this ultimate spoiler. And like, but outside of that, even with like Ibushi, when he's not in a consolation match, he couldn't get it. It's like those is 2 matches and that's it, bro. From this all-time thing, like, he's a great wrestler, but like, as far as having some, year-defining match or showcase type of match of that set, nah, man, he has those 2. He might have 2 more before his career's over, and that's kind of it. No knock against him. He's a great wrestler, but like, it's certain levels of his greatness thing. And that's the kind of thing when we were talking about like what's the difference between like Naito and like an Omega Okada Tanahashi Ishii thing or whatever else. Like, he made, I mean, to be quite frank with you, he's below Naito. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, and I don't mean like Naito in his prime. I mean like Naito now, body broken down, shitty knees. Like, I'd rather watch Naito versus Ospreay in the G1 semifinal than any Jay White match. Like, you want to see the best of Jay White? It's gonna take you over a half hour to watch it. Yeah, Kazuchika Okada worked very hard during this match. He was like determined to get the crowd into it. He did a senton flip off the buckle to the outside of the ring. He rarely pulls stuff out like that out. He was firing the crowd up. Obviously, this is the big Inoki show, so
the only finish was Kazuchika Okada hitting the Rainmaker after 30 minutes and then raising the belt up.
He also broke out the jaw too. He broke out the Inoki Shin.
Yeah. So Okada wins, gets the belt back.
One thing also, bro, it wasn't even like a thing where like it was just me laughing at the camera closing in on his chin. It was the whole entire fucking stadium was laughing at him doing the Okada or doing the Inoki Chin. We were fucking howling. Like that shit transcended the language.
But yeah, man. Overall, this is a hell of a show. I really had a good time watching it. I watched the second half of it live and went back and filled everything in. And as James said, it felt good to feel like you're watching Wrestle Kingdom, and it was like one of the most important shows of the year, and it was just like this big feeling event at the beginning of the year. And it set off a lot of like great directions for New Japan going into New Year's Dash. They went total mystery on the show pretty much to set up the main event. We had the fucking Dream Team. We had literally One Nation Radio in the ring. Team One Nation Radio. Team KO. Team we own Tetsuya Naito. What else can we own?
We own Ospreay too.
Yeah, team we own Will Ospreay. Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega teamed up, and this shit was just like, and I was unspoiled seeing this, and I was like, holy shit. I thought this was a really cool moment.
Yeah, man.
Yes, the real 7-star tag team. Yes, indeed.
So
not no cosplaying stars out here.
So I was in the building for this. I was at New Year's Dash, and Omega comes out first, and I was like, so he's tagging with either Okada or Ibushi. Either one's great for me. And when that coin dropped, everybody was like, wow. Like, everybody, because like people beside me were like, Okada, and then the coin dropped, they couldn't believe it. And I was like, bro, this is some like, I think I tweeted like, this is some Magic and Larry Bird shit right here, man. Yes. Like I wasn't expecting it, and like they went out there and they were really good together. Obviously, they didn't try to have some all time classic match, but like they did set up and tease title defense for the U.S. title against Jeff Cobb, which I'm into. Sign me up. And yeah, man, all up and down. There
was also a little stare at the IWGP title. That Kenny did.
Yeah. Like he grabbed the belts after they won, and he handed it over to Okada. Yeah, that did happen. Yes, it did.
Just putting it out there. Might have to might have win that one too.
Yeah, man. Like, but, who's coming in third for Wrestler of the Year?
Look,
because 1 and 2 is gonna be, or at least for most outstanding, or at least because like 1 and 2 is gonna be Ospreay and Omega. The way this shit going,
right, like Kenny already has 2 5-star matches in the books.
That's kind of where I'm getting at, and Ospreay is gonna do, unless he gets hurt, he's gonna do him again. So
he's about to go into it with Taichi, and he's just like furious, like so. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun thing. But yeah, I never thought we'd see Okada and Kenny team up. That was a really cool treat. Like, especially like if you watch that thing and you didn't know it was coming.
Yeah. I mean, I got my little picture of them two together.
So yep.
That was fun.
Yeah, man. But I will lead it from here. AEW went to the Forum in LA, and this was like, you think about a show, like AEW's been rolling of late. Like, obviously last week was their big show in Seattle with that debut and all that.
Well, let's be real. It's playoff Tony Khan. That's what's really going
on. But yeah, man, and this one had the 3 big matches of Game 7, Moxley and Hangman, and then Bryan Danielson and Konosuke Takeshita. And there was a couple of things on the show.
There was also the tag match. Britt Baker.
Yes. Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker against Saraya and Tony Storm.
Saraya, yeah.
So we opened it up, and it was Hangman Page and Jon Moxley, and they, after weeks, and weeks of building this thing up, a lot of promos, hard promos left and right from both of these guys, and they kicked the fuck out of each other. I mean, what do y'all expect? Hangman Page ended up getting the win with I believe he gave him the buckshot. I think he did too, just like he said in the promo. So ironically, the thing Moxley would do is call a shot. Hangman did this time, and I believe this was only Jon Moxley's second clean loss in AEW, if I'm not mistaken. So this was a big win here for Hangman. Crowd was going nuts for him. Moxley was kind of leaning into kind of being more aggressive, and they beat the fuck out of each other. Hell of a match, but this time, at the end. The key was Moxley this time, kind of being knocked loopy after the match. This was an angle. And then Hangman kind of looking at him like, oh, fuck, I might have did to this guy what, he did to me. And, I hope this guy's okay, but it looks like it was a write-off for Mox, so he'll probably be back and, hopefully in time for Revolution, and these fools will do it again. This was excellent.
Can't wait to watch it.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you mentioned you think they're gonna do it again. I'm glad, because I need them to focus on Hangman Page. I need them to stay focused, because they lose sight of what the fuck they're doing at times with certain guys.
Bro, people they loved this man in LA. So after that, we got what else did we have on the show? We got a surprise return of Adam Cole. So Adam Cole shows up. Tony Schiavone's in the ring, so it gives him no pleasure in welcoming the returning Adam Cole. Big pop for this guy. And he comes out kind of in his brown jacket, and he's not wearing a black jacket for once in his life. And he says he has good news and bad news. He always wanted to be a pro wrestler, and he gets to do it in AEW. Being injured made him realize how much he missed his, with his shoulder and his head injuries. He went through a lot of trouble these last couple months, but he mentioned the fan support, saying it meant the world to him, that, people would check up on him on Twitter and say they miss Adam Cole and stuff like that. And he said, that was the good news, but the bad news, and he flipped it, is for the AEW locker room. And then the whole crowd popped. And, he said he's back and he's not going anywhere. He's not going to stop till he's the best. And he hasn't scratched the surface of what he's going to do in AEW. Today's a new Adam Cole is born. Total babyface promo, which I think is long overdue. Everyone's wanted to cheer this man for a long time. This was a great promo and a hell of a way to kind of come back. And, he, obviously he had the run where he felt kind of overexposed. Him going away, I think, helped him a lot, and he looks to be healthy. So I'm ready to see him, get back into it and see what he can do as a babyface, because I'd like to see it.
Okay, that's cool. So what would you like to see him do?
I don't know. I'm trying to think about the heels that are around that would be available for him to work with. The only hesitation I would say of putting him with someone like Swerve, for example, is Swerve still has unfinished business with Keith Lee. He hasn't returned to TV yet. I imagine they're getting paired off at some point. As far as any other heels, I guess I got to pull the old trusty roster up here.
Death Triangle.
They will be free. I definitely want to see somebody he can get in there and work against. So, well, let's see. The way he kind of positioned himself, he could easily end up as a title challenger at some point. But let's see.
I can already hear MJF doing the NXT jokes. I can already hear that.
I feel like that would be an improvement from from what he was doing this week. Let's see. Maybe you put him opposite. That doesn't sound exciting. I was gonna say Juice Robin. No, sir. No, sir. I think House of Black may be tied up.
Don't you think they're gonna be like the number one contenders for the trios belts?
I feel like it. I
finally get Malachi and Omega in the ring together. Finally,
I think Ricky's tied up with the JAS, so that kind of may take Sammy off the table. I'd like to see Sammy and Cole run it.
You super kick that man out of a shooting star press.
That'd be fun. But there's one that's like leaping out at me, and it's exactly what people are writing in the chat. Powerhouse Hobbs. He's been getting a lot of vignettes and everything else. So I don't know if they would go that direction, but I feel like it's sitting right there.
Okay.
So up next, we had Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Hook defeating Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. Crowd went nuts for this team with Jack Perry and Hook. Jungle Boy's hometown. When Hooks ended up slamming Big Bill, it was better than Hogan versus Andre. This was a super fun match here. And this was the Pretty Boys got the win, and they popped the number 2. So the women's are definitely liking the Jungle Boy and the Hook together. And maybe they like the Big Bill, and Lee too. But I can say for sure, they fucking with the Jungle Boy and the Hook. So, but after that, we got Best Friends segment backstage with Paul Walter Hauser, who was in Cobra Kai and a couple other things, and he got a Golden Globe award and stuff like that. But Renee was backstage at the Elite door. She told us there hasn't been a best of 7 in this, a game 7 in this arena since the Pistons and Lakers in 1988, completely ripping off my entire storyline I made up for it in the AEW NBA on NBC preview I did. So, cool. But after that, Konosuke Takeshita then made his entrance before, the next match with his music that sounds like the old Nitro theme. I love it. And all of a sudden, Maxwell Jacob Freeman's music hits, and he comes out, and everybody's like, whoa, why is he here? MJF gets in the ring. He calls him Take a Shitta and tells him not to take one tonight. He needs him to win. MJF basically says Konnichiwa and basically said, I haven't really seen your stuff, but, he went into, basically saying around here, you need to learn to speak English or whatever.
He really said that?
Yeah, or around here, we speak American. That's what he said.
Oh my God.
And then he basically set it up for Takeshita to speak Japanese, and then MJF didn't understand him, and then basically Takeshita said, "I'll kick your ass," and then shoved him. Everyone popped.
I saw that part.
And then Takeshita is ushered out of the ring by Aubrey, and then MJF continues on for 6 minutes, doing jokes with the crowd and everything. I didn't really care so much about that part. I hated this thing with Takeshita so fucking much. I thought it was low-hanging fruit of the biggest variety there is. I thought this was lazy, uninspired. I thought it was I thought it was unbecoming, because anytime you have to anytime you start having to use racism to try to pop your heat, it feels like you're out of material, as I've been saying the last couple weeks on this show, that MJF seems like he's light on material, and I want to squash it right now, because the easy thing that people throw out, oh, MJF said you guys are fickle, you guys will turn on him and all this stuff. I'm like, no, I know how to evaluate when something's good and when it's not, and this is clearly less than this man's ability is able to give us. Why? Because we've seen it infused with Darby Allin. We've seen it infused with CM Punk. We've seen it infused with Wardlow. We've seen what it looks like when he's pushing himself creatively. This is not pushing yourself creatively. This is doing just the simple bare minimum thing. People ask, hey, what would you rather him do? I can come
something
up
better.
Yeah, something better. But I'll go ahead and give them this one. MJF could have come out there and said, I speak Japanese. He could have lied to the crowd. No is full of shit, right? And then, act like he's in, speaking with Takeshita, let Takeshita talk, and then basically mistranslate him, and then Takeshita jumps on him. You could have done some shit like that, and I'm only a regular person, and I thought of that, James. Wouldn't that be easier and better? But like mistranslate him, and then let Takeshita fire up, or have somebody be like, hey man, that ain't what the fuck he said, and then get to it or whatever. But they formatted this, and it was just like, all right, now Takeshita goes to sit outside the ring for like 6 minutes while MJF does every celebrity he sees. Kim Jong, I believe it was Freddie Prinze Jr., a couple other people. And basically, he says people think he can't last 6 minutes with Danielson. He tells them to ask their mothers and their skank girlfriends how long he can last. He's all about pinning shoulders on the mats and banging rats and all this other stuff. He basically says, he doesn't know who Freddie Prinze Jr. because he was born in 1996. That was pretty funny. But he said there won't be an Iron Man match because he's going to fucking lose, essentially. Bryan Danielson comes out. He, after 6 minutes of just watching this motherfucker go on and on and on and on, and then Danielson charges out. MJF sprints up the ramp, just runs by him, and like a complete coward showing his ass. I wasn't feeling this at all. I thought it was, I think this MJF Danielson program is in the mud right now.
So I saw people's Twitter reaction to it, and people were really down on it, and to the point where they were using Jay White promos where he's capping his ass off as proof,
and cursing wildly. By the way,
to prove that he's a better promo than MJF. I was like, okay, bro, that's how bad was this fucking promo? And then I heard what the gist of it was, and I was like, oh, it's one of those. Yeah, man, you're never going to get me on board with the it's good heel tactics to make people want to watch your show less. And it seems that MJF has gotten to the situation where he's like, I'm going to try to be bad at my job so that people will actually boo me again. And it's like, bro, they're not gonna just boo you again. They'll just stop watching. How many times we heard the same fucking people that think they're too smart for their own good say, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna.
And also, he's way too plugged into the online shit. He's literally just regurgitating shit that's happening from Disco Inferno, days before on Twitter, and then using it or whatever. And it's just is this what we've come to? Is this the great man pushing the business forward? So many of us have considered him, and I liked MJF because of the way he would walk up to the line and never cross it.
Yeah, it's
can't exactly say that here.
Yeah. And I also get the feelings okay, they're gonna have a match, and then what? It's gonna cheat to win. Great, awesome, it's fun.
Love it.
When he gave you that mission statement saying he's gonna do the Reign of Terror, he wasn't supposed to actually really try to do that, because that's not good for business. Nobody who actually wants to watch that. When it's actually applied. Just saying it as a threat because you're a heel and you lie, sure, but actually doing it, bad idea. Not a good idea. He needs to recalibrate.
And not in the way Malachi Black. After that, we got, after all this long ass thing, we got Bryan Danielson versus Konosuke Takeshita, and surprise, a hell of a fucking match that everyone wanted Konosuke Takeshita to win in the building. this was sensational. I'd probably go 4.5 on this.
Wow.
I thought there were some really cool spots. There was the victory roll transition into the off the shoulders into the German suplex that Takeshita did. That was next level. I will say this. Bryan Danielson has to stop doing the Regal stretch. He's not going to stop doing it. He's done it like 2 or 3 matches in a row, but I was talking to someone in the forum and they were like, this is his money clip. Like, it's like, stop, bro. Like, the crowd, I feel like they're confused. It's like, why aren't you doing your own moves that are over? Please let me stop thinking about William Regal, please. But aside from that, this was fucking fantastic. They hit each other hard as fuck. Takeshita ran the ropes hard as fuck. Danielson kicked the shot at this man. Takeshita like fucked him up too. And this was just like a main event in any arena almost, except this one. But this was like, there was a big brain buster on the floor. Just like incredible match here. Just beating the shit out of each other. And it was like, since Danielson couldn't go to the Tokyo Dome, we're going to give you perhaps the best Japanese wrestler going right now in Takeshita. Like, this guy, and the angle has officially started. Don Callis this week on Dark Elevation finally went up to Takeshita, cut a promo, and was like, hey man, why don't you roll with the team? Come join the members. Like, and join the members. You all you got to do is focus on wrestling. You was out here wrestling in Bola. You was doing all this stuff before you fought Bryan Danielson. We don't need to do all that. Like, we will take care of your living situation. All you got to do is think about wrestling. Come over here with Daddy Don and the Elite. So after that, Renee was backstage with Juice Robinson. Said he's here to kick ass and take names. Challenged Darby for Rampage for TNT title. Whatever.
Bro, do you know how, like, I don't know, worn out you kind of got beat for like a Darby match on TV? It just makes you kind of be like, okay, whatever. Like, Darby's liable to try to kill himself in every match he's in. That's not good, Juice. You gotta steer the course. Like, you are veering deeply off the road and into the ocean. Please, like, grab the wheel, please.
So up next, we got the tag match. Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker against Saraya and Toni Storm. And boy, Toni Storm comes out. Vibes were off. Came out ultimate boo-boo face. Ultimate boo-boo face. It was like, I'm getting pinned. Fuck this. I don't want to be here. Saraya came out. Crowd was kind of lukewarm for her. Jamie and Britt get big pops. And then they just have a pretty good match. And then Sheeta comes out about halfway through. She's wearing red, just like Jamie and Britt. Jamie and Britt top level gear with the red and white shit they had on. Sheeta comes out in the red Sheeta suit. That's not Jamie's gear as well.
Like, like, Hater is like written almost like in like a font similar to like Hogan WCW gear.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hulkamania gear. It just stuck out to me, but whatever.
Yeah. Britt's had the match and won. Hers said DMD. So they worked back and forth. There was no hijacking of this match. I thought that was interesting. I thought there were people that thought a riot was going to ensue, but that turned out to not be the case. This match kind of went on until Sheeta threw the kendo stick in the ring, but it was intercepted by Britt Baker, or was it? That's the mystery behind this. And this is, they all work pretty hard here. Despite, the vibes, like the entrance kind of being weird. Toni Storm, the way she was working, it seems like she was a little heelish. Crowds are really not feeling Saraya, it feels like. And, they love Baker and Hayter, of course. And it seems like, with Sheeta, possibly like there's something going on. There's a lot of like moving parts here, and there was no Mercedes Moné here. So this was like kind of talked about for a couple minutes, I would say, but in the building wasn't like this vibe of disappointment. Aside from, I believe there was like a camera clip after this match where it went blank. I think some people got some boos, and then after that, it was like, all right, time to sing fucking Judas after that. So in the building, I don't really think it was a big deal, but they definitely should not have done that line with the "I'm the boss" stuff. But it was a situation beforehand. Like they announced their angle like way ahead of time. Maybe they thought they had her. Maybe it's a situation where it was like, well, we can't come to a number. Maybe there's a situation where there's, maybe TK got cold feet. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she's like way like I'll put it like this. I think I was talking over the weekend. I was like, if you're not going to like, if Mercedes is asking for whatever the fuck she's asking for, right? And you don't really have plans on changing how you're going to present or basically carve the time out, then that's a bad deal if you sign it. They already signed Saraya, which I think is like one of the worst contracts in the company, pound for pound. But I feel like TK has the luxury to wait on Mercedes, as strange as it sounds.
I mean, yeah, I guess they could really use her on Rampage, though. They really could. Like, if you want to turn that around, put her on Rampage. But yeah, I'm with you. The crowd clearly was sitting on his hands to an extent, or at least like after the match, like they accepted that. Like, I think the crowd, from what I could tell or what I heard, like at least accepted that like she wasn't going to debut in a match, but they did really hold out hope that she was going to show up at the end of the match. And
that's what I thought what the possibility was.
Right. So, I mean, because it would have made sense. Like, don't actually like just do her first match unannounced. Like, announce it, like show her she's here, and then like shoot an angle or something, and then like promote a match. But that we'll see what happens in the future. I really believe that like they thought they had her, or they thought, or they were in the 11th hour of negotiations, and apparently it didn't work out. And I would say this though, though she did not sign this time around, whenever it is time to go back to the table to wrestle in America, like Vince being back does not help. Does not help like the Sasha fans' case for her coming back. She'd be more likely to come to AEW than deal with like Vince's bullshit again.
I feel like she can forgive it.
I mean, for a right check, of course.
So I don't know. Who knows where she ends up here? But I don't think this means that she's never coming to AEW. But it just wasn't happening this time. Yeah. So, but after that, we had the Jericho Appreciation Society, and man, this segment was so long, and no one had anything to say. Like,
ooh, that's not good. What time was it?
This was the 9:30 segment.
Ooh, okay. So this one, okay.
So this one, it went on so long that the main event was left with 14 minutes and change, which ironically was the same length that Takeshita and Danielson went, and also Hangman and Moxley. All three matches went 14 minutes. So maybe that was how it was intended, but it felt like they got stiff on time just because this went on so long. And Stark's rare miss for him on the mic. Jericho had nothing really to say. Action Andretti came out talking, and he had nothing to say. And it was just like they fucked it up because they announced the Hager and Starks match before this segment happened. So like the challenge was made during the segment, and this is all in front of the crowd. Like this is all going on forever. This was a really bad segment. But it was after that, like I don't have like they just didn't have anything to say. Like there's nothing really else to say. But after that, with 15 minutes left and probably a minute overrun, Game 7 of the finals here.
Are you surprised that they had just straight to say for the main event as opposed to like doing it in the opener, or like because they love throwing out like the best match in the ring that they're going to have that night, like in the opener. They love doing that. Are you surprised?
I think they were going to get the main event just because of, hometown for the Bucks and Lucha Brothers. Like, they got LA roots and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Game 7, man. In 14 minutes, this was just every big move you've ever seen. Kenny came out with the IWGP US title. They mentioned that he won it at Wrestle Kingdom, and they actually talked about it. Thank you, finally. Good fucking God. And the Bucks came out. When you see this match, do you know what shoes they wore, James?
No.
They showed up in black and white, and I'm going to give you one guess for what shoes they were wearing.
Concords?
No. They showed up in the Shacknosises.
Really?
Yes. In the forum. Bro. Them, like, this was like some of their hardest shit. Like, they just had black and white gear with the pattern and shit. Shit was hard. And I'll send you I got a picture. I'll show it to you. Hold on. But yeah, man, this was every big move you've ever seen. There was through a line of this of Kenny getting his hand worked on with a hammer, with everything, and he ended up being the man that ripped the belts down. But when I tell you the crazy shit they were doing here, Nick took this bump, which was a hurricanrana off the top rope where his ass and below landed on the ladder. And what happened was they didn't get the same height that I think they really wanted on it. So they had to like kind of overextend a bit to flip it around. But like the bump was just fucking disgusting that Nick took. There was a one wing angel off the ladder bridge to the mat to lock this up. There was just like, running destroyers, people doing, I believe it was Nick did a 450 outside the ring through a table on Pentagon.
Wait,
this
what?
shit was, yes, he did a fucking 450 front flip off the top rope to the outside of the ring to a nigga laid on the table, through the table. This shit was insane. I think Dave gave this one 5 stars as well. This shit was like, it was great, man. And this thing feels so kind of underappreciated and under kind of like it's in the backdrop of like the Elite's return. All the CM Punk fans are just angry online, and everything. Anyone that hates the Elite are angry online. I had to watch people fantasy book someone fucking up this match for like weeks and weeks, the whole time. This Game 7, where all I wanted was like a decisive winner, and we got it. I won, y'all lost, suckers, lames, posers, bums. I got the W here, not the Elite. I won, but this shit is the best of 7 ever. You're gonna get some old timers that aren't really feeling it to come out here and cape for best of 7 series where all the matches are not even on tape. You're gonna see that, and this shit was sensational. Like, just week to week, the stories that they told throughout it, the way that these guys fought through injury with Matt Jackson, I believe, broke his toe, Nick broke his toe early on. Pac, obviously, his face exploded early on in the series. Kenny's just coming back and then going to the Tokyo Dome and flying back in and going fucking apeshit in the Tokyo Dome and showing back up to do a ladder match next week. This was a testament to all these guys, like, and I believe like after the show was over off the air, Kenny basically called out the Death Triangle, was like, show these dudes some love. Like, you know, we always gonna like have a rivalry with these guys. Like these guys are great. And it was just like, you know, the Elite never lost those trios belts, right? And they got them back. And, you know, Death Triangle, like, they gave them this series to be like, yo, it's not no easy thing. Like, this is what establishes these trios belts. Like, and I think it's a weird concept to some people just because there's never really been trios belts that are established. They just see 6 guys wrestling, right? And just think it's some shit that doesn't matter. Like, until it doesn't matter, it does. Like, and with the way the world champion is acting right now, these fucking trios belts are the things that, like, you know, these guys are going out there in this company and wrestling over and like really giving the best of themselves, I feel like, for. And I'm looking at, you know, what they did with this, and it was just like, I hope people appreciate these guys. And I don't know if they will. But this shit was like, run it back. You can hate if you want. Like pull up the fucking scores. Like, these guys this shit was top level. Like, so can't like recommend it enough. Can't like praise it enough. It was just like, you know, this is the feud that for me has really like built this company. Like, between the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, Kenny Omega and Pac, fucking Kenny Omega versus Ray Phoenix, Kenny Omega versus fucking Pentagon, Matt Jackson versus Ray Phoenix, Nick Jackson versus Ray Phoenix. All these matches that they've had with each other, and they might not see each other for quite a while, right? Mm-hmm. Like, first 4 years of this company, other people may feel differently, but this is Death Triangle versus the fucking Elite. Like, this is what it is. Like, this is what makes AEW for me.
I mean, yeah, like, I think that Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and the Lucha Bros are like the three highest excelling in ring performing acts in AEW history, and obviously that involves them being around each other a lot. So, you know, like the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros, like, that's some generational shit there. There's some all time shit there. So, and then, like, you know, anytime they want to give me another one of those Kansas City Iron Man matches, I'm here waiting. Like, I love watching fucking Pac and Omega go at it. So, having her to do it 7 times, like, I think you're onto something about it as far as appreciating it. I think there's also something to, like, regardless of how good the matches were, because I think, you know, I gave the first match 5 stars. I gave the 6th match 4 3/4. I gave one of the other matches 4.5. I think I gave the other ones like 4 1/4. Like, I think all these matches have been brilliant. I think there is a bit of, you know, being spoiled and not appreciating like what they were getting, you know, basically 7 times over like a span of 8 weeks, something like that. You know, but either way, like, somebody, you know, 5 years from now, someone is getting into wrestling will see these matches, and they won't have that kind of thing of like, oh, there's some shit they always do, so whatever. Like, they'll be like, holy shit, it's unbelievable. I want to watch AEW for these fucking guys. So yeah, like, I think it's incredible. I think that it's already like, I don't know how do we even handle like feud of the year?
I put it on for last year's already, like before the shit was over, but like depending on if they cross paths.
I mean, they already got 6, they had 6 matches, so
yeah,
so that's fine. So yeah, but I was just thinking like, it's they gave a lot. They gave us a lot these last 2 months, a lot.
Check your Facebook Messenger for the shoes.
Okay, I see him.
Yeah, they came out there with them shits on. I was like, all right, man. Like, y'all them niggas like. So, don't really have too much more.
They came out in them Adidas Kobe 2s, I would have cheered. I would have booed against them, right? I would have booed the hell out of them. They came out here in these fucking bricks.
Love those. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, so we'll be back next week. One Nation Radio Awards. Gonna get all that stuff counted up.
Yeah.
And then the week after, I will be on vacation, as I mentioned. And I believe maybe the next week also, I may be just arriving home. So I'm going to be recording all the wrestling I can, but I'm not going to be actively watching it. So I'm going to be in the hole, so to speak, in a couple weeks. So
yeah. Fret not though. I'll be doing the solo shows. Sorry, you got to deal with me instead of Rich. He's better at this than I am, but it is what it is. You want a show, you get a show. But I don't know how to go about like the streaming thing. I might just have to do the recording thing, and then you'll get a show on the podcast.
Y'all will get a podcast.
Check that out. Yeah, like I'm not about to start a Twitch. This is Rich's shit. I'm not gonna flood his shit with shit that ain't got involved him. This is his content place. So yeah, you'll get podcasts from me for however long he's back, and then we'll be back into the swing of things. So yeah, like I'll get you guys all caught up on Stardom from the beginning of the year to next week and all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff. But yeah, man, glad to be back. Wrestle Kingdom was awesome. Dream Queendom was great. Saw a lot of cool stuff this last 2 weeks. Or the last week of the year and the first week of this year. Like a lot of cool stuff. And I don't know, man. Like, I want to ask you this: what is your like outlook for pro wrestling now that we kind of have like New Japan seem to have some new fresh guys, some new fresh programs, and they're outsourcing stuff between Stardom and also New Japan and also AEW seemingly with Kenny Omega and these shows we've gotten of late, like it's very similar to like the run of like Awesome TV we got in the summer with AEW. Like, how are you feeling about the start of 2023 and like do you think it's a forecast or anything?
I'm energized right now. And I think that comes down to, obviously my favorite guy being back in the game, like going fucking nuts. But a lot of programs are happening that I'm into. The Hangman Page and Moxley thing is excellent. They got Shingo and Okada coming up. Yep. They have Jay White and Eddie Kingston coming up on Battle in the Valley as well. Stardom, like I checked in on the Triangle Derby a little bit. Yep. Kind of interesting concept there. Obviously, Julia and Suzuki are set to fucking run it.
Momo and Kamatani is also on this anniversary show as well.
Yep. And it's like I'm very excited. Like, there's a lot of like good choices here to check out. Cody's coming back at the Royal Rumble. They announced him tonight.
Oh, they did. Okay.
So some people think this means he's not going to win, but since they announced him, but who knows?
Last time they did something like that, where people thought like someone obviously was going to win, and they announced him ahead of time. That turned out a little swell, didn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to run into trouble this year. That's always kind of interesting to see. I don't think I'll see that show live. Would you be
surprised if Vince showed up and all of a sudden they run into trouble?
No.
The man lives for controversy.
Look, do you think a Royal Rumble is going by and then Vince McMahon is just hands off?
Right.
I do not.
Right. And that's another thing, like for like the forecast, like this screwy old rapey uncle is back.
Yeah. Yep.
Just ready to fuck up anything, right? At any moment's notice, could just screw it all up.
I'm gonna be paying attention to how these fools out here in this wrestling media start covering it too. I'm gonna be watching. I'll put you on the SummerSlam screen and ask you to explain yourself in front of the world. Don't come out here and tell me that he invented wrestling. Like, don't try it with me. Like, let that go, bro. Like that's not what we doing here. Because I'm gonna ask you about Rita Chatterson. I'm gonna ask you about these women in these NDAs. and tell me what you got on that, So we will see. We're gonna have some fun, but yeah, man. Like as far as like the good things in wrestling,
mm-hmm. Is there anything you feel like that's kind of out of your normal wheelhouse that you want to like check into or check on more for this year coming up?
Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yeah.
Like Pro Wrestling Noah for sure. I would love Go Shiozaki to be back. I can't wait for the second day of Wrestle Kingdom. We're gonna get Shingo versus fucking Kazuhiko Nakajima and Shingo, Tetsuya Naito and Kano.
Yep.
There's a couple other matches that are announced between some LIJ and Congo guys, and
I love that angle they shot. Or I love that shit they did.
Bro, it's fucking great.
We're like, because people were making the jokes about like, well, look at Congo. They all they all like showed up at the press conference like they're fans waiting to get autographs. So it's like, well, how else do you show up to someone that's behind the table and not look like that, assholes? And then like, I don't know if that's a conscious decision or not. But they're like, they did the funny thing where like they're asking to sign shirts or ask for signed shirts for Congo. Like I loved it, and like Kino was like, hey man, like y'all owe us 25,000 yen. Like,
run the yen.
Yeah, like you didn't. And also, where are your masks, you dirty fuckers? Like, and I think like it's a really bold choice to put like him and Naito together because both of them need a big win. So like I really like it, and Nakajima and Shingo is like, I know people have talked about how they've done it before, but it's like, yeah, tons of matches have been done before. I want to see it again.
I want to see this one. I want to see this one.
Yeah,
this one's here for me to check out.
Right. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm sure it was fine, but like I don't really give a fuck about Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay from PWG like 8 years ago. I don't care. I don't. Like I'm sure it was good. Whatever. I don't care. I care about now. Like. Now we're probably gonna get a Julia Maya Yuki match or whatever else. Like, and I think that she's shown enough people to like she's fucking awesome. In her time in Triangle Derby. Good.
Also, they gonna stop keeping this Utami versus Julia match for me this year too.
Oh, they're gonna do it at some point this year.
they gonna stop hiding it.
Yeah, but like when they have that when they have that match, or people be like, well, what about their match they had in Ice Room in 2019? Like, yeah, I saw it. I gave 4.25. This is a different thing now. Julia's much better now. Much better. So yeah, I think I'm going to try to like get more regular into like the big shows from everybody in Japan. Like I'm going to try and watch like the Ceiling Korakuen. I'm going to try and watch like I used to. But like I'm going to try and watch like, the Ice Ribbon Korakuens and try to like, for the first half of the year I did stick with Tokyo Joshi Pro, and then I fell off. Like once they got the Princess Cup I kind of fell off. But and then I forgot, was it Grand Princess or was there whatever the October show is, like the last one I saw, but like until the 1/4 show, but like I'm gonna try to like get back into like watching everybody's like pay-per-view / big show of the month type thing. And try to be able to see more of everything. So because there's a lot of great wrestling, and I want to appreciate like what these hard fought championship battles look like or whatever. That's real fun stuff.
And like, Japan's opening up. Like, it seems like there's a domino effect about to happen as far as cheering goes. So yeah, like they're already saying that like, or there's already talk that like Stardom, like the anniversary show is going to be allowing cheering in some capacity, which is like, y'all don't understand. Like Stardom was what Stardom's done. Like in the pandemic is like remarkable considering like what the atmosphere used to be when like you had the cheering, you had the calls for the wrestlers when they were in danger of losing a match, and you had like the streamers and the pageantry of all that. Like obviously I don't think they're going to go back to the streamers, but like whenever they get back to like full on cheering and the streamers, like it's going to be so much more like you're gonna see some of the personality of the promotion that like is kind of that people claim like doesn't exist anymore. It's like, well, what else do you want to do? Like, so yeah, I'm excited for this year. Kind of re-energized from the Japan thing. If it's coming back,
I'm not gonna let it dampen my spirit for pro wrestling in general, because like, you know,
this shit bigger than him.
Yeah, there's so much more stuff, and there's so much stuff that's better than the stuff he's putting out, or what even Triple H is putting out. So like, it's fine if it stinks. I will watch and tell you it stinks, but like, I'm not gonna let it get down on like all the other good wrestling I watch.
Yes, sir. Let's fucking do it.
Yep. Thanks for listening to the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this with. If you are watching from the stream, go to the PayPal, go to the Cash App, hit us with donations. If you're listening from the podcast, you can go to the show notes and click on to our solo feed. Also, you can go into show notes and find the link to the FOH draft in 2021. Oh, sorry, the 2022 FOH draft. You can go there. You can also pay for what you want to listen to it. Also, in the description will be the last call for votes for the 2022 One Nation Radio Awards. And you know, that'll all be in the show notes and descriptions. But you know, thanks for listening, and be sure to listen to the other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, Keepin It Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, and Meet the Press Slam. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.